For goodness sake, what is wrong with everybody? What is wrong with everybody, I ask? What is wrong with all those women carrying placards here and there, running around the streets, trying to sabotage Senator Natasha? Or you're trying to shut her up? What is wrong with you people? At this point, let me tell you guys, some of your mothers, you need to disown them. Some mothers are very useless. Some of them need you to disown them for them to get sense. What is wrong? What is your business with that woman's allegation? Are you the Senate president that was accused of inappropriate advances on another person? Why are you carrying placards? Is it your business? Who is mobilizing you to carry placards over an issue that does not concern you? For goodness sake, the Senate president is a human being. He has mouth. He can come out and defend himself. And his office, this is the number 3 person in this country. A very important position you are holding. And this kind of allegation is leveled against you. You are now mobilizing people to come and carry placards and be doing iwe on the streets. For what? Some mothers supposed to be disowned at this period, at this point. And even you as a woman, let me tell you, it's not even everything that you begin to defend your husband over. This is a national issue. These are senators fighting. For goodness sake, you are not a senator. You are just a senator's wife. And a senator of the Federal Republic is accusing another senator of inappropriate advances on her. Is not in your position to come and defend him. You are not a senator. Madam, with due respect, you are not a senator. You are just a senator's wife. And if I am Natasha, I will not respond to you. If I'm Natasha, I have no business with you. I won't even talk to you. I will focus on the person that I am accusing of making inappropriate advances on me. I will focus on that person. What is your business? Why do you want to buy matter that does not concern you? How sure are you that your husband did not do it? There are some things we don't even do. I know, yes, you have the right to protect your husband, but not in all cases. You see this particular case, he wears shoe, he wears coin. You're supposed to be careful, because somebody like Natasha cannot just come out to start accusing your husband of inappropriate movements around her. Then you feel like she doesn't know what she's doing. For goodness sake, Natasha is a beautiful and intelligent woman, a barrister for that matter, that knows the level of the implication or the weight of her allegation. She cannot just come out and begin to accuse your husband unnecessarily. She must have had her evidence. She's a lawyer, for goodness sake. And I understand again that you guys are trying to make it look as if it's a woman-woman affair. You want to bring Natasha down. You want to make her less by bringing your wife. I don't understand how you people reason sometimes. This woman is a senator. For goodness sake, you guys are equal. She could have been a Senate president. For her to get to that height, it's equally impossible for her to become the Senate president. So trying to bring her down to women level, let it look as if it's a women battle, is not going to work. It's not going to fly. Answer your crime, Oga. Answer. Respond. You owe us Nigerians. You owe us explanation. Did you or did you not do what Natasha is accusing you of? Did you do it? If you did not do it, you come out and say, I did not do it. You have your mouth. If you did, you say, okay, I am sorry, I did. You understand me? Mobilizing people here and there to come and speak for you is not going to make any sense. That is one thing with Nigeria. They play around, they play down with everything. Any small thing, you people will start to mobilize. This is not campaign period. We are not campaigning anything now. It's not campaign period. I pity those women that are carrying placards. Shame on you people. Shame on you people. You guys have forgotten that injustice to one is injustice to all. It can happen to anybody. Imagine a whole full-fledged woman, a senator of the Federal Republic, is coming up to say things like this, and you guys want to play it down. That's why a lot of men don't allow their wives to go into politics, because of things like this. And when they speak, nobody listens to them. That's why, in order to avoid problem, most men stop their wives from participating in politics. These are one of the reasons. And I tell you again, men are their fellow men's enemies. Men are the ones men are fighting. Imagine restricting a woman from traveling because of your advances towards the wife. And according to the man, he even approached you to plead with you to please allow this woman be. Yet no. And you as a woman, you are coming out to defend your husband, when even a mother that is carrying a child, that is backing a child, does not even know when her child plugs a mango and begins to leak. I saw one video yesterday. A woman was carrying her child at her back, and this child carried one bottle of red oil. The woman did not know. Meanwhile, she was backing her child. You understand? You don't have the right to defend anybody. You can't even swear for anybody. You have to talk about yourself. What you would have done as a mother is to just calm down. Okay, now you see Senator Natasha is your family friend. Why have you not called her to find out the truth from her? From the first experience, you would have called her, since you both are family friends. But no, you did not do it. You now want to sue her. Sue her as how? I don't understand. How do you want to sue her? Anyway, Sha, you say that this country, anything goes. Before you know it, now some of these judges and lawyers will compromise and even judge against that woman. But my happiness is that she has her mouth. She's a voice. She speaks. Any woman that is fighting against that woman is a fool. Any woman that is fighting against Natasha, that is not giving her support at this period, is not a woman. She's not a woman. No matter your relationship with whoever, you are not a woman. We have to hear her out. Oga needs to come out and explain to us, I did not do it. In fact, it is our right. It's our right for you to explain to us. As Senate President, is our right. You owe us explanation. You must have to come out and explain to us. And if things like this begin to happen, you see presidents, everybody will just keep quiet. They are not supposed to keep quiet. All the bodies involved are supposed to come together. If it is to suspend him, they suspend him until we hear from both sides. That's how to go about it. If you want a serene country, if you want things to work well, we have to start from the grassroots. You have to start from even you people. A woman is making this kind of allegation and you guys are playing it down. Oh, this is not nice. All of you mamas, people should carry seats and go and nyash down. Unfortunately.
Top of the week, that was Natasha and Akpabio. I'll leave the stories for the lurid imaginations of each and every one of you, but how does it concern us? Is the bit where the office of the Senate President, the third citizen, quote and unquote, of a country devoid of citizenship, has been tied to nudity. But you see, in the midst of all these, there are squabbles. The lesson I want all of you to focus on is, how does the diarrhea of the monkey become the concern of the baboon? When they share these things and it goes around, we hear nothing about it. Well, if the two of them cannot manage their relationships, just like the elder sister from Ekiti said, manage the thing is for elders. So even me, I'm sure I'm not an elder, I wouldn't qualify for the agenda. So eke out the little lessons that you might find in the nonsense that they will throw at you to distract you. Because at the end of the day, the good hunting dog never lose sight of the quarry. He doesn't go chasing after lizards or squirrels in the underbrush. Be aware that what they do consistently is to distract you. Aside from the fact that they confirm to you the kind of characters, people in the leadership or ownership of Nigeria, that entire story has nothing to do with you. It's a squabble amongst them. All right? So let's go to the next one. Oh, the Lagos House of Horror. We have this song. Ele ofeshu labule, edele ofeshu labule, baale ntagbo, ìyàwó ento gogoro. You know the song now. So I see that what used to be covered by a simple directive by Olori Oko, the Jagaban of the universe, is no longer coverable just like that because everybody have money now. Everybody want power too. And everybody is looking to carve out their own little fiefdom. Long may the squabble continue. But get something clear, not concern you. Not be your fight. When I tell you not to die in their war, those are the kind of things I'm telling you not to get involved with. And Natasha, Nicodemus, your Senate president, want to knock Natasha. I think concern you. It's a prerogative to say no. She has said no. If they can't manage their madness among themselves, good enough, they've gone to court. Now this is going before them. They've gone to court. Which brings me to the other one, the Supreme Court judgment in Rivers State. I'm loving it. Don't you get it? I am loving it. And it is important for me that you also develop the capacity to simply be loving it when they are squabbling. It's their war. It's not your war. Don't go picking side in a war that is none of your business. Okay? When I say do not die in their war, these are the wars I'm referring to. The ones that has nothing to do with you. Wicked, the wicked, Sim, the simpleton. They're busy squabbling over how they will share the commonwealth of the people of Rivers State and by extension, that of Nigeria. If they are not quarreling, it leaves you with nothing. If they are quarreling, it leaves you with nothing. Focus on the war that you need to be thinking of fighting, the one for your own liberation. Do you understand? See all these Supreme Court do this, that one do that. What's your own? When has the Supreme Court ever done anything in your interest? Please tell me. When was the last time the Supreme Court did something that the nation stood up and applauded that justice was served? Is it in the election of Akpabio? Selection of, okay, you get it, of Akpabio, the same one that is busy showing them, God is truly merciful. He's truly merciful. And all of you are allowing yourselves to be distracted by all that nonsense. It is none of your business. It is the system that allows that insanity to continue, to perpetuate itself. It is that self-perpetuating evil system that has produced these madnesses that are distracting you, and you need to be focused on. Do you understand? It is none of your business. When I say do not die in their war, those are the wars I'm talking about. Some of you have taken my admonition not to die in their war as some invitation to cowardice. Nothing can be further from the truth. When I say do not die in their war, their own war, identify your own war, fight your own battles. If you must die fighting your battle, please make sure you fight based on the truth. If you die in the course of a truthful battle, all that ever happens to you is that you become immortal, because the truth is immortal. I've taught this too many times for you not to get it. So let's be clear. It not concern you. It not concern you. Those are their wars. By the time I'm closing my sermon this morning, I'll be telling you the one way concern me, concern you. You understand? Good morning. So that was the week that was. We'll be starting this week, as I told you, but it's something that I intend to keep going forward. Got it? So let's sing Wike, let them enjoy themselves. Let Akpabio, Madam Natasha, let them do themselves. The Supreme Court, if it says a woman is a man, who is to argue with it? The Almighty Supreme Court of the Feudal Republic of Nigeria. Anothr. Anyways, good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock now. I imagine that we're all here now. And those of you who are not here because you've gone to church, God bless you. You'll catch up with us later. My Muslim brothers and sisters, Ramadan Karim. I imagine that's how I'm supposed to say that. Now, truth of the matter is, may the grace of Allah be with you and make the Ramadan easy for you. May all the graces that follows Ramadan and that stays with you during that Ramadan be with each and every one of you. May God's grace be with you all. Welcome to the Temple of Truth. So this morning, I would like us to talk about the Republic of Pyromaniacs. I've tried to keep my topics simple, but today I am of necessity compelled to use the word I'm going to be first to define, and that is the word pyromaniac. Who is a pyromaniac? What are pyromaniacs? It's simple. Any basic dictionary will tell you that a pyromaniac is a person who has an obsessive desire to burn things, to simply set things on fire. Yeah. Maybe you need me to repeat that. A pyromaniac is somebody who has an obsessive need to set things on fire. So now, you now have a republic of pyromaniacs. That's heavy, right? And it's you all, including myself. I'm not just talking about the ruiners of Nigeria, those sat in high offices. You already have principalities and powers sat in those places. But the reality of the problem is that it is Nigerians that have actually happened to Nigeria that has made Nigeria what it is. If you've not done it yourself, you've allowed it. If you've not allowed it, you've explained it. If you've not explained it, you've normalized it. If you've not normalized it, you've evidenced it. Each and every one of us are to blame for the evil that has befallen us. Even myself. I'm not in any way excluding myself from the blame that I have heaped on the Nigerian. And I have my reason. Why would I be talking about pyromaniacs? That would seem something pretty extreme, right? Well, here is the thing. The theme of insanity is consistent with the country that we have built. We have built a country that cannot be rationally explained. And when you cannot rationally explain something, then you must find explanation in insanity. So when you see me constantly using the theme of insanity in my preachments about Nigeria, it is actually because our situation is insane. Nothing about us can be rationally explained. Our educational system does not, as dysfunctional as it is, even at the peak of its functionality, it wasn't really fit for purpose. It's not tailored to deliver value, consistent value to the country that it was meant to serve. We graduated engineers who couldn't be trusted to build roads. At the time, at least in my own childhood, we had indigenous engineering companies who did a fair bit of work, but those were the remnants of the core that were built during the administration of the first set of civilians. So in the western region where I grew up, you had indigenous contractors building major roads and township roads. They're all gone, replaced today by Chinese companies, Lebanese companies, Indians. Even in construction, nothing We don't have an educational system that serves that. You might begin to wonder, how does that relate to pyromania? I'll explain it. A pyromaniac is not conscious of the consequences of their action. And it is the same with a country that has an educational system that appears completely oblivious of the consequences of the choices it has made in the curriculum that it uses in training its victims. Yeah, it's only victims you treat like that. You have children in schools chanting endless prayers. Take the cake. First state in northern Nigeria shut down schools because of Ramadan. Saudi Arabia is not shutting down schools. They adjusted timetables. If you are adjusting the educational curriculum to factor in Ramadan as a period during which there must be holiday, that I can understand if that can be done. But how does it make sense that you take the future of children you already deliberately undereducate and then you just summarily shut down schools, and then it does not appear to matter to you that there might be Christian children, atheist children in those schools, the publicly funded schools. Shut it down. I'm not interested in dealing with episodes because we have multiple episodes of insanity already overtaking our country. But when you look at these actions that appears oblivious of consequence, you then begin to ask yourself, what kind of crazy place have we built? Impunity will lead men to do all kinds of crazy things because perversion ultimately sets in when impunity reigns. Now, I need you to follow me on this, please. If our realities appears to be completely divorced from an understanding of the fact that for every seed time, there is also harvest time, why would I not stick with the theme of insanity when dealing with such a place? So the theme of insanity, which will lead me to label our situation as that of a bunch of pyromaniacs. Look around you and then tell me, who does the things we do without really thinking about what it will have? When the pyromaniac set fire, he hardly thinks of the consequences of the fire set. You've heard of wildfires. Thank God we don't have anything like that in our country. God be praised. The kind of things we hear in America, in Australia, in the Western world, where sometimes they even begin to wonder if it was the work of a pyromaniac. Maybe somebody set the fire deliberately. Those are the consequences that you see in real time for the kind of choices that we have made, and the results are waiting in front. How do you explain a country where the state deliberately weaponizes ignorance? I know that when I say these things, a lot of you find it difficult to understand or to relate because you believe that perhaps these words are extreme. But how do you explain a country that places primacy on the comfort of the rulers at the expense of basic education? A country where children are going to schools in classrooms without a roof, under trees, exposed to the elements. How do you explain that the rulers of that country are driving around in billion-naira cars? Not just the president. It's easy to point at Bulaba. What about the state governors? What about the chairmen of the local government councils? What about those ones? How is it so difficult in a country as blessed as Nigeria to fund primary education? And I'm just talking about physical structures now. How about the human resource? The persons who are meant to be teaching persons, how educated are they? What are the consequences of these choices? And that is at the basic level. Look, there is something I have taught for some time, and it is what religion does to the mind. And I'm still going to talk about religion, but what I want to talk about right now is not religion per se. But I want to explain what happens when you leave a mind untrained, uneducated, undirected to purpose, which is why I speak consistently to the weaponization of ignorance. The word religion comes from the Latin root religare. Religare means to bind. I once possessed a dictionary known as the World Book Dictionary, and it had illustration and it had an etymology section as well. And when you check religion under the World Book Dictionary entry, you'd find what I'm explaining to you now, Old Latin, religare. You'd also find it if you go to Google. But there was something extra in the World Book Dictionary. It had illustration. And the illustration that was in my childhood dictionary was one of a finch, tiny bird. It had its wing bound, which meant that it couldn't fly. It couldn't do what was natural to it. That is the duty of religion, to bind your imagination so that you do not think outside accepted parameters. Every religion does that. That's why it's got all the rules, commandments, and everything. Now, when you now imagine a mind that is offered no structure from birth, beyond what the perverse society into which it has been battered give to it sociologically in conditioning it, is nurture or poison. Now imagine that a state deliberately, because I don't know how else to explain it, consistently for the last 20 years, Nigeria has had an out-of-school children population of 10 million at any point in time in the last 20 years. It has had at least 10 million children out of school. Now, do the maths. If there are 200 million of us, and you've consistently had that many number of children out of school, what happens is that you can extrapolate and say that today you've got about 50 million young adults who are functional illiterates, untrained to do anything beyond survival at the basic level. That is your population of agbero, bandits, terrorists, armed robbers, beggars who are beyond school age. That's where they're sourced from. That is the real-time consequences of the choices that have been made by the state. And I am speaking to the ones that you can catch in terms of extrapolation. Now, when you have rendered a man the subject of weaponized ignorance, what you have done is that you have fettered his imagination, and his capacity to create value has been handicapped. That assures his poverty, ultimately. Now, you have weaponized poverty, you have weaponized ignorance unleashed against the people deliberately by the system, systemic, over years. What do you expect that this would birth? We are a republic of pyromaniacs. We've set the damn house on fire. I keep shouting, maybe somebody will hear. Or it could very well be, as I've told you in the past, I wasn't writing for you. Maybe I'm not even speaking to you. Maybe I'm speaking against you so that a future generation might know that one of us was not insane, even though I'm the one you call insane. You weaponize religion to the point where the candidate's religiosity matters more than his competence or qualification. That is in addition to the weaponization of ethnicity, turning what should be a strength into a curse, our diversity that should strengthen us, suddenly is inversed and turned into a cancer, tearing us apart. Pyromaniacs. What do you think are the consequences of these things that you're doing today? Yoruba against Igbo, Igbo against Yoruba, Fulani against Hausa, Hausa against Fulani, this one against that one, Ijo against Kalabari, Calabar, all because of choices focused on today, incapable of thinking beyond the moment. Small minds, pyromaniacs. And it's not just the rulers, it's each and every one of us. Pyromaniacs, setting our house on fire. Where would the children live? Where would you live? Mobilize hatred once our interests are not served. Very soon you hear, in fact, not very soon, it's already happening. When you look at the combatants in rivers, they're already talking upland, Ibijo, this one, that one. When Wike and Sim were busy sharing it, did they tell you that there were any differences between them? So all of a sudden, because they are squabbling over their loot, Rivers people are going to be divided and reminded of old fault lines all over again. And some of you will join them in weaponizing this hatred. And you think I am wrong when I describe all of us as pyromaniacs. It's easy to point fingers at the ruiners. When was the last time you looked in the mirror when you're looking for the reason where we are? When was the last time you looked in the mirror? Republic of Pyromaniacs. The country itself deliberately divides quota system, educationally disadvantaged state, this one, that one. Now you have zoning that has never made any difference to the unification of the people that have been deliberately torn apart. Zoning in the mud now. Look, there are consequences for every action. Each and every one of these actions have consequences. Look at the judicial anarchy that has been let loose on Nigeria today. Nobody, except perhaps Wike and Bulaba, goes to our court expecting to get anything positive. We find the outliers, because let me be very clear, although I'll teach this on some future date, but let me explain something very quickly. I am not afflicted by the Elijah syndrome. The Elijah syndrome is the one where the prophet begins to believe that he is the only one in the land. I have no such illusion. I know that there are plenty of my type all over the place. So I'm not suggesting that there is anything that I am doing that no other person can not do. Plenty of people can do and have done better than I am doing, and they will do better even when I'm no more. But the point is this: the judicial anarchy you're seeing today was clearly predicted. You cannot govern a state by the whims of men and not have a scale of justice that totters constantly. The scale of justice will continue to totter without any certainty for as long as we continue to pander to the whims of men. There are consequences for every compromise that is made to a system that should not be compromised. The compromises did not start last year. It did not start 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The compromises were always there. The only thing that has happened is that the compromises have been compromised. Yeah. And now compromises have been democratized. Once upon a time, you had the occasional aberrant judgment. Now, every judgment does one's head in. That is the consequence of the pyromaniacal choices that were made when the judiciary became the plaything of politicians. Look, in the absence of the rule of law, there must be the administration of impunity. In the administration of impunity, there must be a prescriptive interpreter of the law. In our country today, it is unfortunate, very, very unfortunate, that judicial confidence is at an all-time low. And this is not the fault of the victims of Nigeria. It is based on the choices that have been made within the judiciary and by the system itself. In the absence of the rule of law, what we have had is the rule of impunity. And in the absence of the administration of justice, what we have had, essentially, is the administration of impunity. Yorubas have this proverb. Say, there's another version of it that says, I will explain. He says, when a child is cutting a tree, it is the elder that will know where the tree will fall. This speaks to the consequences that are sometimes intended or unintended. A child, a young person, applies himself to bringing down the tree. But the elder within the vicinity would pay attention to where the tree is lilting or tilting, so that by the time it will fall, he would have warned each person that might be in the vicinity so that they might take cover and avoid having themselves crushed by the falling tree. The instructive thing about this is that it speaks to the mission focus of the immature child who is not paying attention to extraneous factors such as where the tree would eventually fall. That is the unfortunate reality in which I find myself a lot of times. I am cursed with the inability not to see. I must see. I will see. At all times, when we are making these choices, as individuals, as a collective, particularly in the context of my discussion with you this morning, as a collective, as Nigerians, when these choices are being made, I've been left most perplexed because I live in the future that I see being destroyed. I'm incapable of living in the moment except when I am in pursuit of my own carnal pleasure. Outside of the pursuit of my carnal pleasure, I constantly live in the future where I see the results of the pyromaniacal choices that have been made. When Yusuf was killed, Boko Haram was battered. It didn't have to happen. It was a choice made by the Nigerian state and its rulers. Man was caught alive, but he couldn't be tried. They couldn't have him talking in a court because he was a tool of the system. So they killed him. That was the beginning of Boko Haram. Agbero. When I was growing up, by the time I came to Lagos in 1985, it was only a small pocket, restricted largely to the major bus stops. Major, as in major. You find them few and far between. And Agbero must not be confused with area boys, even though now it's become one. And it's become one in a more sinister fashion. But those are choices made. Kids who came into Lagos from the rural areas, kids who were born in Lagos without access to education or with limited opportunities, they swell the ranks of the Agberos. And today, because they have aspirations, it's easier to climb through the rank as an Agbero to become an MC, for instance, than to rise through the rank to become a lawyer, a doctor. The persons they have to aspire to, the role models that the youth have to be, the ones who have money to burn, are the Agberos. So, what do you expect? So you have a situation today where, as a collective, we've built a society where the consequences of the choices made are catching up with us. Amajiris. That was always a deliberate system. But what was once the exclusive preserve of the North has become a Nigerian thing. The Amajiris of the North are your area boys and Aglo in the South. I don't know what they're called up East. Banditry. Those are choices made. The children that were untrained. Remember I told you that like 50 million that had no education, no purpose given to them. Them are the ones. Do you understand? At the end of the day, how many of you with your phones, your smartphones and things are actually available to fight the battles that you must fight? Militancy in the Niger Delta, those are consequences of choices made. Young men that were harmed and used for political purposes, who became on their own warlords, able to command big money. Some are today traditional rulers, contractors for the Nigerian state. Some even confessing on camera how they've killed on behalf of the Nigerian state. Those are the choices made. Pyromaniacs. Biafra, their choices made. Odua Republicans, their choices made. These are the result of the choices made. Some would mobilize separatists so that their political interests might be highlighted. These are the choices we've made, and that is why our house is practically on fire. Now, let me be very clear about something. In the absence of purpose, abuse becomes inevitable. I do not call you here to titillate you on Sunday mornings. There is a reason for this